This is part 3 of the video on user-defined Ajax callbacks. So we're now going to examine how this component behaves in a browser. So we'll turn on our server. We're going to switch over to Firefox over here, and then we're going to click the button over there, and we'll see our callbacks happening, and then click the button over there again. So you can see that Ajax callbacks taking place. But now let's actually examine what's happening when we click one of these buttons. So I'm going to go here, and I'm using the Firebug extension in Firefox to understand what's going on. So let's go ahead here and press clear. So I'll click the compute tags button over there, and when we examine this callback, we can see what information got sent to the server. So you can see here we basically did a generic Ajax callback calling the function compute tags, and here's all the information that got sent to the server. But what's interesting here is to examine the response that got sent back from the server. So you can see that in our Xbasic function, we just set the properties of this e.underbar_set object, but from that this JavaScript got generated over here. So Alpha 5 on the server side automatically took the command e.underbar_set.extension.value and converted that into the appropriate JavaScript over there, which is here's the command that sets the value of the extension field in the grid part in row number 4 to that value over there. Then here you can see we set the style to blue, and that was done using this JavaScript command $SS, which is one of the functions in the Alpha 5 JavaScript library, setting the property value to grid1.v.r and then row 4, and then the extension, and then here's the color blue that we set. So you can see how it's much easier to just set properties of the e.underbar_set object compared with actually writing the JavaScript yourself that would get sent back in the event handler. Now, in addition to setting properties in the current row, you can also set properties in other rows and in other parts of the grid. So let's go back and look at how you can do some more in your event handling code. So we'll go back now to our grid component, and you can see that I've got some text here that says grid element is here and element is here. So, and if we go now to the section above the grid, you'll see that we have a span here with an ID of grid.componentName.le1, and below the grid we have another span that's just got an ID of LE2, but it doesn't have the placeholder grid.componentName in it. So let's go ahead now and see how we can set properties of those two elements in our event handler. So we'll go back now to our Xbasic function, and I'm going to go here and say e.underbar_set grid element dot le1 dot value equal and I'm going to go here and say e_set and let's go ahead now and then save this and run this, and you can see now that in addition to setting values in the current row, we've also set values of this grid element, and this didn't work because I must have typed in the wrong ID. So let's go back and investigate that.